Hello everyone and welcome back to Xbox Nation. My name is Fletcher and this is the video where we take a look at the upcoming Xbox and Game Pass games for this week and to see really if any of them are worth your time and or money. This is another huge week for Xbox game releases, including the likes of Call of Duty, massive drops onto Xbox Game Pass itself, and so much more. There's just so much to cover in today's video, so let's just dive right into it. First up, and if you remember about a week ago now, Bethesda Studios actually marked its annual Fallout Day celebration with the rather large announcement of Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. This release actually arrives perfectly timed to commemorate the game's 10th anniversary, and it brings with it a substantial amount of content to both longtime fans and newcomers, especially if you're exploring that wasteland for the very first time. The Anniversary Edition actually packages an impressive amount of material though, featuring the likes of 150 pieces of Creation Club content, alongside the 6 official expansion packs that actually released since the game launched. It's not exactly the most thrilling of announcements when it does come to Fallout, as it's not a brand new game, but it will come to Xbox and Game Pass this Monday. If you were at all familiar with the achievement hunting community, you no doubt would have heard about Surviving Mars by now, as it was a game that was synonymous with a quick gamer score. Well, out of seemingly nowhere, Surviving Mars Relaunched is coming out on the very same day as Fallout, and it somewhat sort of feels like an inessential overhaul of a game that actually came out within the last generation. It has been mentioned that this new version though will include some upgraded visuals, an updated UI, new content and so much more, while the Ultimate Edition also bundles the Prime Mission Expansion Pass with a new in-game mission sponsor and access to 2 upcoming DLCs. I have seen some reviews and they do agree it's somewhat not essential, but then again, if you do want a strategy game, then definitely pick this one up, as it's actually pretty decent within the gameplay departments. The meme game of this year has finally arrived, and as a fan of Goat Simulator, I'm actually ready for the stupidity of Pigeon Simulator this week on Xbox Game Pass. As you can probably expect, and by going from my Goat Sim comparison, this one has you going about the world as a pigeon, and you take on a variety of different challenges, find funny Easter eggs, and just cause mayhem across a wide open city. Funnily enough, there is a story here as well, as you will play as a time-travelling pigeon who's tasked with stopping a nefarious goose from wrecking reality. With that, do expect a blend of slapstick mayhem and sandbox freedom as you poop on everyone, destroy everything, and just somehow save the world in the process. It looks pretty bonkers, and again, it will land on the Xbox on the 11th of November. One review I am working on, as well as Void Train and Arc Raiders, reviews on those will be out this week, we have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and the huge final DLC called Mysteria Ecclesiae. Yes, believe it or not, the DLC is actually going to be the final huge content drop for this game, which is certainly a kind of sad occasion because the game actually only launched earlier this year, and for me, this game is easily Game of the Year alongside Clear Obscure. This newest DLC though has you venturing to the Sadalets Monastery to investigate a deadly disease, but this one does have a brand new location, including loads of new story quests, gear, a few other bits as well, and so much more. So will you be jumping into this new DLC? Let me know in the comments below, and again subscribe for that review within the next couple of days. The world is imploding, the gods are arguing, and you're the poor hero who's recruited to stop everything from exploding in this chaotic laugh-out-loud adventure. Dropping onto Xbox Game Pass on the 11th of November, Good God Grove throws you into a cosmic meltdown where your main power is essentially sucking up speech bubbles and blasting them at gods, monsters, and just confused puppets to solve puzzles, spark drama, and maybe flirt your way out of total disaster. This is an incredibly weird and bizarre game, but it garnered quite a decent amount of reviews online, and from doing some digging online myself, it's best going into this one with an open mind. It's a really good one as well for strategy game lovers, and really don't let that visual style put you off, as it's deceptively deep and incredibly funny. Sacred 2 Fallen Angel is coming back with a remaster, and to be honest, I kind of never thought this game would ever see the light of day ever again. THQ Nordic actually announced the project during its digital showcase a few months back now, and it finally lands this week. As you kind of expect, the remaster features refined combat, an updated user interface, and high-resolution textures. It will also include all previously released DLC and updates, giving us the full version of the game from day one, which is lovely to see. If you're unfamiliar, this is a massive fantasy realm filled with hundreds of quests, dangerous dungeons, and unique combat art for you to master. You'll also be able to do stuff like battling monstrous creatures, uncovering ancient secrets, and then shaping your character through loot, leveling, and deep customization. It looks pretty decent, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing if any of you dive into this one for the very first time this week. If you remember, we had the inclusion of Guardian of Light a few weeks back now, and now Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris is also coming to Xbox Game Pass for Ultimate and Premium members on the 11th of November. This is actually a direct sequel to that first entry, and it does take you back into the 4-player co-op experience once again, as of course Lara and the gang. This time though, you are delving into the depths of multiple temples and defeating hordes of enemies in the Egyptian underworld. Like the first game, there are a lot of puzzles for you to solve, and that's all whilst avoiding deadly traps and so much more. Personally, I'm really not the biggest fan of these sort of spin-off Lara projects, but I know they can be decent fun, especially if you have a few of your mates to play it with. Again, it does come to Xbox Game Pass on the 11th of November if you are interested. Goodnight Universe was brought to my attention thanks to SkillUp's latest video, and for me, it's actually in my wishlist to grab for this current week. It's certainly a really different game that I kind of ever expected, and I think that's why I'm just so intrigued by it. You are put in the shoes of Isaac, a 6-month-old baby, developing mysterious psychic powers. What you want most is to be loved and accepted by your family, but a secretive tech corporation wants you for their own. The game features what they're calling an immersive camera-as controller mode, and it's expanding on the innovative use of camera-based technology that the dev team behind this is really known for. This one though is really promising such an incredibly emotional story as well as some very deep themes, and I just can't wait to get my hands on this incredible indie gem. As some very great news for indie fans, Winter Burrow will be joining the many other Xbox Game Pass games this week on the 12th of November. I've actually been so intrigued by this little indie gem survival experience for so many months, and every time that I see this one, it looks even cozier and just so much more fun. As you can see, you are playing as a little mouse surviving in the winter in a cozy woodland, and to keep your little rodent friend alive, you'll need to do stuff like gather resources, craft various tools, knit sweaters, bake warm pies, and just help out all the local critters while exploring this snow-covered world. Its blend of survival mechanics and pure coziness makes it such an intriguing experience, especially for me and indie fans amongst us, and it's a perfect game really to play for this winter. If you want something to play this holiday season, then I highly recommend Winter Burrow, and it should be a very great shout. Relic Hunter's Legend is actually heading to Xbox Game Pass, and that announcement was actually my first real introduction to this game. After digging into it a bit more online and sort of doing my research and seeing what it offers, I was surprised by how much it actually lines up with what I really enjoy within the gaming sphere. At its core though, it's a top-down looter-shooter RPG, but what really stands out amongst the crowd is it's drawing inspiration from classic JRPGs. The loop actually revolves around you exploring new worlds, taking down waves of enemies, gathering better gear, and diving back in for more time and time again. One of the biggest selling points though will be the 4-player co-op for many of you out there, and it basically lets you jump in with friends at any moment in time. I have actually had a look over at the Steam feedback as well because of the sort of early access period, and at the moment the feedback is actually quite mixed, and that's largely because co-op isn't available within the story mode, which is kind of disappointing. It's understandably a frustrating omission, but hopefully they do actually rectify that for its launch. Even with that caveat though, the game looks pretty promising, and its arrival on Game Pass makes it easy to give it a shot for this week. As a massive strategy game nerd, I am so hyped for Anno 117 Pax Romana, but then again, I just don't know how I'm going to fit this game around all of the games that I'm currently playing at the moment. However, if you are a fan and you're wanting to drop everything to dive into this one, then I have some really great news for you. This one is now letting us experience the premier builder and design the cities of your dreams at the peak of the Roman Empire. Like previous games within the franchise, expect to be able to optimize your economy while balancing your people's needs with the relentless demands of the Emperor. This new Anno game is actually also breaking tradition though, and is giving us 2 faction options at the very start, which has basically never been done before. This means a ton of differences in its gameplay, how to go about looking after your people, and so much more. The more I find out about this game, the more excited I get for this release date this week, and I might have to drop a few games just to play this one. In a surprise twist, the sim racing game known as Rennsport will be launching this week onto Xbox. This one will release on the 13th of November, and that's concurrently with the version 1.0 release over on PC, where the title is currently in free-to-play in its early access mode. Those of us though on consoles will be able to race against those on PC with cross-platform racing and also leaderboards, and it's a setting that can be toggled on and off if you so choose to do so. Progress will also be synced across all 3 platforms as it's tied to a racer's Rennsport profile and its app. Using Unreal Engine 5, the project was actually first unveiled all the way back in 2022 and has since progressed through a series of closed and open beta tests. I'm actually very mixed, and from speaking to many who've tried it so far, I would wait for a few reviews on this game as it seems very unfinished and lacking a ton of content. Inazuma 11 Victory Road is officially coming to the Xbox Series consoles when it releases this week, and it's actually the first time that the series has ever been available on Xbox. For those of you who aren't familiar, Inazuma 11 is a character collection and football simulation RPG series, and it first debuted on the Nintendo DS back in 2008, and it's genuinely really been associated with both the DS and 3DS over so many years now. Inazuma 11 Victory Road, though, is actually looking to feature a story that takes place 25 years after that original DS game. It's also said to be featuring a roster of over 5,000 characters, the longest anime runtime in the series history, and the ability to play or manage your games as well as take on some exciting online tournaments. Personally, it's not my cup of tea, but then again, I'm very intrigued to see if any of you are excited for this one in the comments below. Well, the largest launch of this November just has to be Call of Duty Black Ops 7, and no matter how many of us really feel about this newest entry, it will likely be one of the largest releases of 2025. For me, I'm actually quite keen on the single player, as I do usually dive into them every single year, but then again, I'm really bored of the multiplayer, as it kind of felt really uninspired by what I've played during the open beta stage. It has been mentioned that this one will actually be a follow-up to Black Ops 2, so at least the campaign keeps me very hopeful, but then again, the PvE elements do seem very odd within the endgame. The multiplayer is also having the largest amount of content ever at its release, which might have some of you fans quite excited, but yeah, I do kind of feel a bit worn out by this point within the Call of Duty space. Who knows, it might be great upon launch, but then again, we'll just have to wait and see when it comes to Xbox and day one to Xbox Game Pass on the 14th of November. All of you Xbox JRPG and Monster Hunter fans will be foaming at the mouth this week, as we're seeing the release of 2 Monster Hunter Stories games for the very first time. On the same day as Call of Duty, both Monster Hunter Stories and Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin will launch on Xbox, and it actually marks their debut on the platform. Unlike the mainline series, these spin-offs really do focus on befriending monsters, raising them and then battling them alongside them in turn-based combat rather than hunting. These games really are beloved by so many for their anime-inspired style, the expansive roster of the monsters, and just the really deep and complex combat systems. These games really remain underrated gems within the franchise, and if you don't have any interest within the Call of Duty launch, then these ones might be right up your alley this week. We also actually had a couple of games that shadow dropped onto Xbox last week, with one of them also coming to Xbox Game Pass, and I wanted to quickly highlight them in case you missed them. While it wasn't mentioned in the sort of Xbox Big November 2025 Wave 1 reveal of Xbox Game Pass games, there was an Xbox Series X and S upgrade for Stellaris Console Edition, and it's also quietly joined the Xbox Game Pass library. If you already own a digital copy of the game on Xbox One, the upgrade is actually free of charge as well. Stellaris itself has been around on Game Pass now for, I believe, around 6 years, and the PC version actually remains a pretty popular strategy go-to for fans of this genre. It's as dense and complicated as any Paradox strategy game, as you really have to get your hands on with the micromanagement of your intergalactic colonies. The Xbox Series X and S upgrade for Stellaris includes the likes of 4K resolution, boosted performance, and so much more. Again, this one is available right now if you're interested in diving into it. Contraband Police also launched out of nowhere onto Xbox, and is a game that has such an overwhelmingly positive rating over on Steam, and that's based on almost 10,000 reviews, so it's probably worth taking a look at. This game sees you playing as a young officer at a border post in a fictional town, where you need to carefully analyse each visitor and then ensure that no contraband crosses the border. For the most part, it's said to be a puzzle game, but it does also have a first-person shooter element to it, and some of the Steam reviews do mention how enjoyable the story and characters are as well. I've actually seen so many out-of-context clips and hilarious moments from this one over the years, so I know many of you might actually want to grab this one. It's currently sitting at £22.50 here in the UK, and I think around $27 in the US, and it does actually seem like a pretty decent price point for this experience. What game are you looking forward to this week? Do let me know in the comments below. It does also help me in what I kind of do with regards to content plans and videos to bring you for this week, so let me know down below and let's have a discussion about it. Do also like this video as well if you did enjoy, and subscribe for more Xbox content every single day. Whilst here though, and if you want to check out another awesome Xbox video, why don't you check out the video I uploaded yesterday? I actually covered about 16 hidden gems that are available on Xbox Game Pass that you won't want to miss. Yes, this is a re-upload due to glitching issue, so hopefully it doesn't ever happen again.